Good morning, guys. Good morning, and welcome to Brass Ring Media. It is I, Ashley. It is Saturday morning. It is earlier than our regularly scheduled time. I do have to do some traveling today. Nothing crazy, but I need to get on the road a little bit earlier. So we are doing a little bit earlier show this morning. Because like I said, on the past couple weeks, I will not be able to do the morning show next weekend here with you guys because I will actually be moving. But I didn't want to miss 2 weeks for you guys here over at Brashing Media. So we decided to do an earlier show. So good morning, good morning. I appreciate all you guys who are able to pop in this extra early show. But if you watch a replay, I appreciate that as well. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. It has been not that busy of a week in wrestling, thankfully, but we do have, of course, a big weekend coming up this weekend and an interesting few weeks coming up, especially with the developments of what happened last night on SmackDown with John Cena and Logan Paul. And then, of course, we had finally the big reveal on Monday for Naomi Trinity. She is with child, which is super dope. So congrats to her and Big Jim. That's pretty dope. And yeah, so we finally got some resolution on that. But going forward, it's an interesting period because it's one of those times where we're kind of in like, I don't want to say a lull, but you're in a little bit of a down period until you get into the new year, which obviously starts WrestleMania season, which is big for all wrestling companies. You know, obviously it is what it is for WWE, but the ramifications and the kind of ripple effect just kind of passes on to other companies as well. Once WrestleMania season is here, like the excitement for wrestling in general just seems to build up, which then ricochets, no pun intended, to other companies as well, which is super dope. So we're gearing into that. I myself am weirdly like looking forward to Survivor Series. I have a feeling they're gonna pull something out, not big, but they're gonna want to have at least somewhat of a big show, especially with it being John Cena's last Survivor Series. So we'll see. We'll see. But today we are here to just solely talk AEW. We will be chatting and doing the predictions for, of course, AEW Forbidden Door, which is set for tomorrow. We do have an earlier start time as well. Last I checked, though, they were almost at a sellout. They had yesterday when I checked, they had only like 117 tickets left, and I think that was early in the afternoon. So that was pretty cool to see. I'm very happy for them. But good morning, Zach. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for popping in. If you are watching on YouTube, I appreciate that. If you're watching over on Twitter, we appreciate that as well. If you are able to, definitely like and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you wouldn't mind, we definitely appreciate that here at the channel. But like I said, we'll be diving into AEW Forbidden Door. It's probably not going to be that long of a show today. Pulling up how many 9 oh, I'm actually surprised. We are at an not even, but we are at a 9 match card, which is not what I was expecting it to be. 10 plus matches, with Tony Khan's history, especially with the earlier role for us here, depending on where you're at in the world. With an earlier start time for the show, I was low key kind of concerned that he may try to throw 12, 13, 15 matches on the card, but he did not. So I will give credit where credit is due for that. But of course, Forbidden Door is being held over in the UK at the O2 Arena, London, England. Pull it up here. The pay-per-view card, the poster for the card looks pretty cool. So I hope I'm one of those, like I've said in the past, like I'm one of those who is like, who they get what on the arena, when you go to the arenas on like random shit for like merch and stuff like that. Like I love the little posters, just like any of the little knickknacks, as they call it, right? I love that shit. But getting into the card itself, we do have a pretty decent card here, though, to be honest with you. Again, I sound like a broken record, and I feel like we all do at this point. Some of the matches probably don't even really need to be on the card, or could have had a little bit better build, or may have been rushed. So we'll get into a little bit of that as we go through here. But overall, AEW definitely is obviously one of those companies where you can say what you want about like the weekly shows, the build and stuff like that, but dude, they always deliver on pay-per-views. Like I can't remember what pay-per-view was it? It was a recent pay-per-view, honestly. I forget the name, but there hasn't been a pay-per-view where it's like, oh my god, like, this was a complete drag. The length of the show does bring it down, in my opinion, at times, but it's never been a case where like every match just sucked or like, what are we doing here type vibe. So, getting into the card itself, we do have. I'm gonna start with this one because we do have a recent development. Mercedes Moné is now a 9-time champion, women's champion. I don't know this most recent one. I just saw briefly this morning. I was scrolling through the old Twitterverse, always be Twitter to me, that she has won a 9th championship. Again, I don't know the company that she won it in, but our girl will be walking around with 9 titles now. So shout out to her. Like I Lord. But she will be defending the TBS championship against Alex Windsor, Persephone, and Bozilla. I'm not familiar with Bozilla, so just full disclosure there. However, I don't think this match is too much of a question mark. Sadly, I think it's going to be pretty decent, but it's just one of those. It just is what it is. Matches. Mercedes is going to retain here. No issue with that. Obviously, right? She um, funny story. I was traveling to Boston Sunday of this week. I was there from Sunday through Wednesday evening, and Sunday morning I was leaving the MCO airport here in Orlando, and I ran into her, Miss Mercedes. She was waiting to board the flight to go to Boston. I was just sitting there, just whatever. It was like super early in the morning, like I think at that point it was like 6 a.m. And like we were all standing at the gate, and I looked up and I noticed her hair, her hair. Because at first, like just like you're on your phone, do whatever, and you just look up, and I had to do like a double take. I was like, "What beautiful hair!" And I was like, "Wait a second, I've seen that hair before." And I looked at her and I was like, "Bro, like, is that Mercedes Moné?" And I was like looking at her hair. I was like, "Bro, that's gotta be." And then she turned to the side. I was like, "Bro, that's fucking Mercedes Moné." And I was like, "Dude, what do I do? Like, I don't want to be that person early in the morning bothering someone, especially for a picture. Like, I definitely wasn't gonna do that." But it was time to get up and start boarding, so I had to get up. And I was like, "I'm just gonna say hi." Like if she bites my head off, or if I end up being one of those fans, I will take it. But I just at least want to say hi. So I just walked up to her and I was like, Miss Mercedes. She was like, yes. And I was like, I'm so sorry to bother you. I was like, I'm not gonna bother you for a picture or anything like that. I was like, I just wanted to say hi. Thank you for what you do for wrestling, and just safe travels. And I actually told her, I was like, forget the haters out there, go for 10 at this point. And she kind of laughed and she was like, thank you. And that was it, because like I said, we were boarding our flight and I was gonna obviously bother her, but just very nice, very cordial, very nice. Didn't bite my head off, didn't nothing like that. So it was very cool. But it was just like, what are the odds? Like super early in the morning. Obviously, she, I guess, still lives in Boston. She's from the Boston area. But it was just random. Something you don't expect to see so early in the morning. Or something you don't expect, and not something like she's a thing, but just something you don't expect to happen so early in the morning. But it was pretty cool, pretty cool. But again, no surprise. I anticipate her retaining her championships here, her chips plural, but at least her TBS championship here. Sticking with the women though, we do have Timeless Tony Storm, of course, our AEW Women's World Champion, defending the championship against Athena. Athena is, I guess you call it, cashing in her Casino Gauntlet contract. I'm very surprised. One second. I'm very surprised that we are getting both casino contract holders cashing in, declaring, whatever you want to call it, again, at the same venue, and kind of a similar fashion. Um, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not like down on it or anything. I'm just surprised. You at least with the WWE thing side, we're kind of prone and I guess acclimated to having one cash in relatively quick, if it's not that same night or within the next couple weeks, and then the other holder holding on to it for a few months, and that's not the case here. So I dig that. What was it? Last year's with Christian, he held it for a long time. What was it? I forget it was months though. So now with AEW though, they do have, I don't say like a stipulation, but they do have the point with there is that it's not actually invalid until it's signed, as we learned with Christian, until it's actually signed and handed over. So I guess there is still a chance Athena can try to wiggle her way out, but I don't see that happening with her. MJF, of course, did end up wiggling his way out. He threatened to set threatened to set Mark Briscoe on fire this past week. Um I don't know. I just felt like, long story short with that, it just, first of all, it wasn't necessary in my opinion. Like it just was a bit too extreme. And not in the sense that, oh my god, I'm like so offended, or like how could he do such a thing? But like it was almost like out of order. Like last week, I thought they did a fantastic job selling it, setting it up. How Hangman was able to play mind games essentially and manipulate MJF into using his contract and eliminating that potential threat for Hangman in the future. But now they've reversed they reversed that order and they've pretty much undone what they did last week. So I just thought it was kind of biting off your hand when you didn't need to. So I guess I'm kind of getting ahead of that, but speaking in regards to the contracts, that's obviously what prompted my thought for that. But I don't know, man. I feel like they could have just stuck with what they did last week. Obviously, you do need to do something for the go home show, but you could have had a sit down segment. I don't know, you could have done something different. Or if you were dead set on doing that, threatening to burn Mark Briscoe alive, you, I guess, could have just switched the orders, right? So that's my long story short thoughts on that. Again, I'm gonna hold off my predictions until we get to the main event for that match in particular. Um, but the next matchup that we have, and again, this isn't in no particular order, we have Kazuchika Okada defending the AEW Unified Championship against Swerve Strickland. This one is just gonna be a fantastic match. I cannot wait to see this match. I think it's, again, I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more build into this one. It's just kind of perplexing to me, just the outcome that in the follow up and the lack thereof that we've had since All In coming into Forbidden Door. Like Kazuchika Okada won the Unified Championships. We didn't hear anything at all from Omega. He's back now. He's going to be in a lights out match, which we'll get into. And Okada hasn't really done anything since winning the championships either. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's just very odd. Very odd. But this match is just going to be fantastic. Like, I can't wait for this match. Looking at the card, I'm like, yo, like, is this going to be a card where no titles change hands? So part of me is like, yo, this could be the match where it does. Oh, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. I didn't get to my official prediction for Tony Storm and Athena because I got off on the sidetrack for the contracts. But I do think Tony Storm is going to retain the championship here. Possibly, there's a small chance of an upset for Athena pulling out the victory here because, like I was just saying, which prompted my memory, are we really going to have no championships change hands? I just don't feel like it's the time, like sadly, like last year when we were all, I don't want to say on the bandwagon because that's not like we jumped off, but when we were all like, yo, like Athena's going to have this big match at All In, it's going to be like, just, it's going to be her moment. And it just didn't happen, and I'm not going to get into that again. It is what it is. But I just feel like she really, and again, no fault of hers, it's just the booking. She really lost that hot momentum to really pay off a title change, my opinion. So I just don't think it's happening here. I don't, and I'm not even against it. I'm saddened for Athena in that sense, but again, booking wise, like in the ring, fucking fantastic, right? No questions there. But she's still the Ring of Honor champion as well, too. Like I mean, this company has like everyone is a champion, but I just don't think you would want to necessarily make her a double champion as well, because you have so many other double champions, it seems. So I'm thinking you just, and I'm gonna put a pin into that thought that just popped into my brain. Speaking of double champions, but I'm thinking you want to just put a really good effort match here and have Toni Storm retain. Obviously, Athena will still be the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, so she can revisit the title scene on the AEW side if and when needed. But I just don't think the time is right now. But speaking of double champions, it made me think of, I don't know why randomly, Dustin Rhodes and the Ring of Honor side. First of all, shout out to Dustin Rhodes. He just went through double knee surgery, and I think it was successful. The tweet I saw was successful. So shout out to him. I can only imagine that recovery is probably not too fun and probably a little painful. So shout out to him. I hope he's recovering as smoothly as possible. I try to never say as quickly as possible because you don't want to rush recovery, bro. Especially a surgery like that. Like, take your time, boo boo. Enjoy your downtime. You deserve it. So I just think that he needs that time to relax. He deserves it, bro. But what made me think of him is, correct me if I'm wrong, but my thoughts are he's still a double champion. He's still the trios champion, the 6-man tag champion, and the tag team champion for Ring of Honor with Sammy Guevara. I couldn't tell you who the third person is in their trio. I have no idea. But it's like, so he's gonna be out for some shit. So what are they doing with those titles? Are they just not concerned? Maybe they did something and I just missed it. Who knows? But yeah, man. Shout out to Dustin Rhodes. I hope he gets through that recovery well, because that shit sounds not fun at all. But back to Okada and Swerve. Officially, man, I think Okada is gonna retain. Like they haven't done much, but as I was starting to say, I feel like if they are, well, this one and another match, which I'll get to next, I think if they are going to have a title change here on the card, I think it could be this one, even though I'm not as sold on this one as I am on the next one that, like I said, I've been getting to. But I wouldn't be as shocked as I would be if Swerve won the title here, or titles here. I am gonna be very intrigued to see the finish though, because if Swerve doesn't win, is he just gonna lose clean? Like, I mean, it's no shame to lose to Okada, but it's definitely not the same Okada that I don't want to say that we've seen, but that we've come to expect from his New Japan days that we haven't quite seen in AEW. We have some like small flashes, but not as strong as I would have hoped. I'll just speak for myself as I was looking forward to. So official pick here is Okada is going to retain. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Swerve pulls out victory here, but I just don't get that vibe and get that feeling. I do potentially think this match is going to be, if I had to put money on it, this would be the one where I would say titles would change hands. And that's the Hurt Syndicate. Our tag team champions, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, facing off against Brodito, Brody King, and Bandito, and against FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood. I don't know if it's going to be some shady business from MJF in particular, especially since he's going to be focusing on a match in the main event, which we'll obviously get to. And I don't think we're necessarily going that route anymore with, maybe, I don't know. We still can be, but the whole FTR and MJF thing, I thought it would have been maybe a little bit more heavy-handed. So we'll see. But my prediction here is that FTR is going to win the tag team championship. no big surprise there, I'm sure, with all of us out there, us smart wrestling fans, right? Because the lay of the land and the all signs point to the tag team champions being FTR defending against I almost said Edge and Christian, Adam Copeland and Christian at All Out, right? So again, no big shocker there, which we'll get into that match here next up. Um, I don't necessarily think you need to do it for the tag team championships, and maybe they won't, but my thoughts are with this card, almost the shoe in is going to be the tag team championships change hands. And again, maybe I'm wrong, and that'd be cool if I'm wrong. But I just don't. I'm not as confident on any other title changing hands, and I feel like you want to at least do one quote unquote exciting or like shocking thing right on a pay per view. So, and not necessarily do it just to do it. Do it if it makes sense, and this can make sense. So and I think it's going to be your best opportunity to get the tag team titles off the Hurt Syndicate in the most believable way possible. So that's where I think we're at with that. So my thoughts are FTR win the tag team championships, and then that sets us up to go into obviously All Out in Toronto. Just had to move some wires there. Got a little twisted. So yeah, I think it's gonna be an okay match though. Like honestly, like with how many people we have in the lights out steel cage match, like I would have been good for just a regular tag team match up here, but it is what it is. It's no no crying over spilled milk there, right? But leading on, of course, we do have Adam Copeland and Christian Cage facing off against the matriarchy, which is now Kip Sabian and Killswitch. Nick Wayne has a broken foot, so he will not be in action. I believe that's what it is, a broken foot. Awesome to see Killswitch back, y'all. He went through some shit, some medical shit, within this past year, and it was pretty serious. I don't know the full details, but it was one of those where he was hospitalized for a while. Just overall health was just rocky there for a bit. Obviously, it's fantastic to see him back. Clearly, he wouldn't be wrestling if his health was in jeopardy in that wise. So, fantastic to see him back. Super stoked. Looks fantastic. My God, looks like a fucking unit, dude. A fucking unit. Like, I saw that dude come out, and I was like, like the muscle he's built. Like, shout out to him, dude. It's just so maybe this is killing it for some guys, but or some of you guys, but I'll never forget watching him on Big Brother, the real dude behind Kill Switch years ago. It's just awesome to see where he is now. So shout out to him. Sadly, though, I do see the matriarchy losing here. I see our guy Kip Sabian taking the loss, even though it is in his homeland. He will be taking the L. So sorry about it. But it is what it is. Killswitch definitely is not. But it's cool. It's cool that they were able to have a nice replacement there, being Killswitch. It made sense for the story with, obviously Nick Wayne being injured, then needing a replacement. Killswitch was the perfect slide in there. So awesome that it worked out there. But even cooler that Killswitch is okay. So shout out to him. Props to him. I'm happy health wise. He's good to go. And yeah, like I said, this is going to be one of those matches where the babyface team, can they get along? Can they coexist? It's going to be the story here. I've already said I'm not going to go down my whole thoughts on what they were going to do with Christian and the whole go find yourself. I think that they really left a lot of money on the table the past few weeks, but it is what it is. I'm not going to rehash that right now. I do like, though, if they were going to go this route, that they aren't just having both of them be back together and be all kumbaya. Christian still is his dick self, he's still an asshole. I like that. Adam Copeland is trying to be like, like come on, bro, like, be like the good guy, like, but he's not overdoing it, not hamming it up. So I dig what they're doing, but I don't know, man. I feel like I would have done it differently, but it is what it is. So I do like the follow that they had this past week on Wednesday. Almost said on Raw. So yeah, like I said, to me it's a no-brainer here. Copeland and Cage win, and it just sets up them going into All Out, which again, no shocker to any of us out here. Well, good morning, everyone in the chat. Good morning, good morning. I appreciate you guys for popping in here. And a majority of you guys watching over on YouTube, on Twitter, appreciate that. Got about 500 over that. Have you guys almost 600 people watching over on Twitter? So definitely appreciate that. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We do appreciate that here. Definitely does help out, all that good stuff. If you're watching on replay, definitely drop some chats into the comment section. Again, we are a little bit earlier this morning because I had some stuff that I needed to do, and I didn't want to miss 2 weeks in a row for you guys here. I will be moving next weekend officially, so we'll not be doing a show next Saturday morning, but we'll be good to go for the following weekend. And also, we'll be getting back into my channel, my personal channel, Kick Ash Podcast. I'm just having withdrawals from being able to stream, so definitely once this week is over with, we'll be getting back into the flow of that, getting into a new setting, a new office. So it's gonna be dope. Super pumped for that. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be very fun. But good morning to all you guys. I just wanted to say that and say thanks before we continue on here. But next up, we do have Kyle Fletcher, our TNT champion, defending against Hiromu Takahashi. Again, I'm not too familiar with Takahashi, just to be completely honest with you guys, but Kyle Fletcher is fucking fantastic. So I think this match is going to be super fun. Again, I have him retaining here. No real surprise. And going into next year, I hope they reformat the Forbidden Door. I hope they just change the whole Forbidden Door name itself and just go with a different concept, because now we have credit to them, to AEW. They've knocked down the door, so it's no longer forbidden. Now WWE is playing ball, so it's just no longer forbidden. We need to come up with a new concept. So I hope we switch things up next year. Just quick thoughts on that. But again, nothing like, oh my god, like how are they, like why are they doing Forbidden Door? Like nothing like dramatic like that. But just some thoughts going into next year. Like you were able to pull out a good card for this year, but maybe next year just revamp it and just switch it to a different name. Not saying get rid of the pay-per-view slot itself, but switch it up. You know what I mean? Just do something different. But moving on, looks like we went through. Did we go through all of them? Boom, boom. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, so we have the Lights Out Steel Cage match and then our main event. So, the Lights Out Steel Cage match, we have the Golden Lovers, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, teaming up again. As I was saying earlier, we have had no sightings of Omega or Ibushi, correct me if I'm wrong, since, or especially Omega, since All In. They were just included in this match. So, okay. Okay. We have Darby Allin, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Will Ospreay, essentially encompassing Team Ospreay. He's the dude who's, well, he's set up the whole thing. Facing off against the Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli and John Moxley, the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, and Gabe Kidd, who apparently I guess is not injured. I thought he had like a knee injury or some shit to where he couldn't be included in the G1, or maybe he did and he just needed that time off and he's good now. I don't know, but apparently he's good now. Our guy Tanahashi, his knees are just, God bless them. This match is gonna be a clusterfuck, guys. Again, I said, I think it was last week, I don't know how physically you're gonna fit all 10 guys into a standard steel cage. That's why I'm like, and again, I'm not too familiar with the New Japan side and the history, so you guys have to forgive me. You're probably much more knowledgeable in that sense than I am in the New Japan world. But I saw where they had like their steel cage match. It's almost like a fence. It's like surrounding the outside, almost like the concept of like Hell in a Cell, but it doesn't go all the way up. It's not like a huge, massive structure, but it like goes like halfway up, almost like I think they call it like a wars. I don't know, some shit like that. So I don't know if that's the route they're going. Obviously, we'll find out tomorrow, very early, with the setup and things like that. So we'll see. And it's definitely not War Games. They are not War Games. Blood and Guts. They definitely would have called it Blood and Guts. And I'm glad it's not Blood and Guts. To me, like they don't need to do Blood and Guts. To me, it's just too much going on at once. Like I don't know, like especially I went to the Blood and Guts that was in Jacksonville. Was it 2020? It might have been. And dude, it's just not a good, me personally, it's not a good experience live. Like, and that was in Daly's place, which there's no bad seat in Daly's place at all. So shout out to Daly's place. But it's just, you can't see through these steel cage structures. There's two of them bitches there. It's massive. You can't see on the other side of it. So it's just not a good time live, personally. So I don't think, another reason why, but with that also it takes up so many of your additional seats too, which obviously being in the O2 arena, they wanted to get as many seats as possible, and I think they're over 17,000. I think is what the official count was, which they had to have sold out by now. Like I said at the beginning of the show yesterday when I checked, they only had like 117 tickets left, so definitely gonna sell that shit out. Props to them. It's an accomplishment. Um, but yeah, I just don't know what this match is visually gonna look like, guys. Like, it's gonna be a clusterfuck, but I think it's gonna be like a beautiful car crash. I fully expect a coffin drop from the top of, well, depending on what the cage structure looks like. Something crazy from Darby Allin. If it's a standard cage, like I see him doing a coffin drop from the top of that shit. I mean, I have plenty of bodies below to catch you. So if they if Darby Allin does some crazy shit and those motherfuckers miss him, you got 9 motherfuckers out there, and I'm sorry, I keep saying that word, but you got 9 dudes out there, and if anyone misses catching anyone in this match, I will be flabbergasted because you've got 10 bodies, 9 obviously, not counting the one that's gonna be doing the jump or the dive, whatever it is, and if they miss this dude, like no excuses, no excuses. So again, unless it's a Samojo type shit where they just walk out the way, which would be fucked up. But I think this match is going to be just a beautifully chaotic clusterfuck of a match. Again, I can nitpick into the build, how Kenny Omega got thrown in there like I semi did. But honestly, I'm kind of low key just looking to see what kind of like car crash this is going to be. I've already said last week how my personal feelings for Osprey. I just hope he's good, neck wise, health wise. I understand why he doesn't want to miss it being in London and all that shit, but dude, like, I don't know, man. I just hope the best for him. So we will see. But for this one, dude, like, I just feel like it's gonna be almost like a no brainer. The good guys are gonna win this match because why not? So it's just gonna be a matter of what crazy shit they pull out. So we will see. But I think Osprey gets the victory here. Either Osprey or maybe Darby Allin over maybe a John Moxley if you want to do something bold or crazy, or maybe Darby over Claudio, something like that to continue. Sorry, to continue that feud, building into All Out. So we'll see. But I do think the good guys get the victory here. No surprise. Maybe they don't. That would be a surprise, but we'll see. Leading into our main event, though, we do have, of course, like I briefly touched on earlier, Hangman Adam Page, our defending world champion, defending against MJF, who was suckered into defending or putting his contract on the line, but it seems that has been rescinded. But we do have a stipulation, it seems, where if Hangman is counted out or disqualified, he will lose the title. So, again, man, I just feel like they made it too convoluted this week than they needed to. I thought what they did last week was beautifully done. It's like I said, the good guy manipulating and get the better hand over the bad guy, which we rarely see. And I just feel like they really shot themselves in the foot and undid the good work that they did the week before. But it is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and beat them up over it or be like, oh, ruin the match or anything like that. But the decision itself, to me, there's no way Hangman loses. I think it would be blasphemy if we go through the entire build, oh my god, who is going to be the one to dethrone Moxley and the Death Riders and really conquer that hill and be AEW's saving grace. And we finally get that guy. We finally get it to be Hangman. We've got Swerve. We got Osprey in the corner of Hangman, like really going, like, especially when you think of Swerve and Hangman and the story that they obviously went through, but Swerve did for Hangman and all that shit. Like, how can you undo that so soon? So I don't think that's where they're going with that. not even that it would be like the worst decision to put the title on MJF right now. I think if you would have, personally, I think if you would have kept the title on Moxley and somehow made MJF a little bit of a tweener going into Forbidden Door, for instance, then maybe you would have pulled the trigger on MJF, but you didn't. You did the right thing. You put the title on Hangman at All In. Beautiful moment, cool, good money. He's been fantastic in the build in the weeks since then. Don't mess that up going into or coming out of Forbidden Door and going into Forbidden Door. MJF is always going to be there, man. Well, depending on his contract, MJF is going to be there for a while. So that's why I was surprised that they went the contract route. But again, looks like they've revised themselves or whatever. So whatever ends up coming out of that. The MJF, he doesn't even need the contract. MJF is that dude where he can talk himself into something. You know what I mean? Or into an opportunity. So this match though, and that's what I was saying too, like they didn't even need to get into I'm gonna set Mark Briscoe on fire and all that shit because they have so much story and a history between the two of them, building onto and off of the beginning dates of AEW, the formation of AEW, before AEW was even a thing, leading into the commencement of AEW, right? And the first day, Hangman losing the opportunity to become the first AEW World Championship. MJF could have just thrown that in his face and just gone on and on and on about all of Hangman's losses and stuff like that. So, because MJF is a piece of shit, right? So you would expect him to point out all of Hangman's struggles and his alcohol shit and all that stuff. So I just think that they could have left Briscoe out of it, really, or had MJF face off like in the ring against Briscoe and then just left it alone after that. So to me, I just felt like they went a little too heavy-handed, and less is more sometimes, like you don't need to be so like shock TV. Like we get it. Like you're edgy. You're not WWE. We get it, dude. Like you can pour gasoline on someone and threaten to light them on fire. We get it, dude. Like you're cool. You're edgy. You don't need to keep throwing it in our face, you know? And again, I'm not sitting here like, oh my God, I'm so offended. Like, how can you do that? No, like, that's just cool, man. Like, one of my favorite visuals and moments in AEW is when Eddie Kingston can't fucking wait for you to come back, dude. Like, oh, again, I don't want to rush you back because, it is what it is. But, man, I just can't wait to see him. But the visual of him coming down just all bloody, just beaten up with the gas tank, dude. Like, it was fucking badass. Badass. And if that's not on a t-shirt, it should be. That visual. So, again, I'm not one of those snowflakes out there, but I just think it's all about placement. I don't think that they needed to go to that extreme in this one. And again, not saying they ruined it or anything. It was just an observation from this week. So just my thoughts there. But again, like I said, I think officially Hangman will retain the championship. I actually will be shocked. I will be shocked if MJF pulls out the victory here. Just because I don't think it's time. And again, not saying that MJF couldn't run with the ball or anything like that, but I just don't think it's time. So those are my thoughts there. I do think it's going to be interesting though to see who Hangman goes into All Out defending the championship against, with it being in Toronto, because we don't have a ready-made opponent for him. We still have some time, and that could be fun, to see who Hangman ends up facing off against. I hope they don't do just another rematch between him and MJF, but we'll see. Obviously, we know for certain Copeland and Cage are going to be on that card, most likely challenging for the tag team titles against FTR. No bold spoiler prediction there, but pretty much what we've all expected. But yeah, and again, like I think they could have held off on the whole hug, which I've already gotten into, with the whole hug between Copeland and Cage. Man, I think that they could have held off on that and really drug that out. It kills me, man, because I envisioned the journey that Christian Cage was going to go on, trying to find himself. And I pictured it, man. And again, sometimes my own fault as fans, we create our own stories, right? I just envisioned him calling back to Adam Copeland, Edge's early WWF debut days, wandering the streets, like, like, and it was amazing the edits they did back in the 90s. So props to them. Like, he was standing there, and then that flash with the, like the blurred, and then you see him in a different angle, or like on a different street or whatever. Or first he was all the way down here, and now he's right in your face. Like shit like that. Like, Christian could have grown out his beard, like just looked like kind of like bum ass Corbin, and then came back like, man, I just, my mind just went in so many different thoughts and different things, and I just like, it kills me, man. It kills me, but fine. It is what it is. I'm not gonna keep torturing myself because I just felt like they left a lot of money on the table with that. I'm just gonna scroll through your comments here though really quick, and then we will be wrapping it up. But again, guys, thank you so much for joining and popping into the earlier stream this morning. I truly appreciate it. We do have, like I said, a fun weekend ahead, obviously with Forbidden Door coming up. I personally love the early afternoon shows, at least for us here on the US side. I think it's at 1 p.m. Let me see. Because it was originally at 3 p.m. I mean, but we're all in different parts of the world, so. Yeah, so it's 2 p.m. for us here on the US Eastern Standard Time Zone. So yeah, keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind, depending on where you're at in the world. 2 p.m. Eastern, at least for us here in the US. So, but I just want to scroll through your comments here. But again, guys, I appreciate you all for popping in. We do have a lot of you guys over there on Twitter, X, so definitely appreciate that. Again, just a programming note. I will not be here sadly next weekend. Like I said, I'll be moving, but we will be good for the weekend after that, and possibly more. I definitely want to shout out Kelly in the back. Want to do more because I miss streaming. I miss chatting with you guys. So I appreciate you all for popping in when you do. Zach, you said it's National Sponge Cake Day? Bro, happy Sponge Cake Day to everyone. Fire and Color, what up, what up? Jesse, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Cody over there on X, good morning. Max, good morning, boss. I saw Dominic in here. What up? Good morning, good morning. Universal, you said, is at 1 p.m. Eastern Time? I just pulled up something that said 2 p.m. Let's see. Oh, I guess it is 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay, cool. So why is that? All right, so they got to fix that. Yeah, so 6 p.m. It's listed as British summertime, 1 p.m. Eastern time, preceded by the 0-hour pre-show at 4:30 p.m., 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's fucking crazy. You gotta, like, that's why I was like, oh, bro, Tony is gonna add like 15 matches to this shit. So if it starts at 1 p.m. Eastern time, like, that shit has got to, like, if we are still sitting here at fucking like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock watching AEW, like, and you start at 1 p.m., come on, which I don't think we're gonna be doing. It's not gonna be that long. I imagine it starts at 1 p.m. I imagine it's probably gonna be done around 6. So hopefully. But we will see. We will see. But yeah, good morning, Maddie. Good morning, good morning. What up, bro? What up? What up? Oh, Dominic, you said Kingston did share an old photo of himself on IG with the Forbidden Door sign behind him. It could be a foreshadowing, right? Or him just referencing that he's missing it. But I hope he comes back, dude. I can't fucking wait for that dude to come back, man. It's just that energy, man, that unpredictability, that fireball, bro. Like you feel when Kingston's not there, dude, and it's a gap that's missing. So I hate like rushing people back, like I was saying earlier. Like, it's not like I want him to rush back, but it's like just antsy and like eager to get him back. You know what I mean? But yeah, guys, that is the Forbidden Door prediction show. Honestly, I may be able to do a review show over on my channel, Kick Ash Podcast, tomorrow evening, depending on when time the show wraps up. So definitely reach out follow me on Twitter and YouTube if you like Kick Ash Podcast. be like, like I said, won't be able to talk about it here next week, but I'm super pumped to be back and settled into my new place. So we'll be back the following weekend. So not next weekend, but the weekend after. But that doesn't mean you're not going to get any content for Brass Ring Media. The guys here will keep you locked and loaded throughout the next 2 weeks. You will be fully saturated with content there, especially if you're members. They will give you the review show. So definitely be on the lookout for that. We got Robert in the week as well. We got Dominic also doing his thing. So you guys are locked and loaded. So no no worries there. But seriously, y'all, I really appreciate everyone popping in and joining Maddie at 10 p.m. Yeah. Good morning, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. Like I said, it was a little bit of an earlier show, but I appreciate you guys for always being so flexible. Truly appreciate it. I'm gonna try to pop over on Kickash Podcast and do something this weekend because, like I said, I just miss sitting down streaming with you guys, but I didn't want to miss 2 weeks in a row. So Zach was dope and allowed me to pop on a little bit earlier with you guys here and shoot the shit, and as they say, and talk some wrestling. So definitely let me know your thoughts in the chat if you're watching on replay because I want to know who you guys think is gonna win at Forbidden Door. But until next time, guys, stay safe out there. I appreciate and love all you guys. Again, if you haven't done so, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You guys know what to do. But until next time, my friends, stay safe out there. Enjoy Forbidden Door and enjoy wrestling, period, guys. Stay safe.